Hello and welcome back to the Breadcrumbs Project. We are going to take a deep dive into the pottery shards that I found here in Muxia. 2.5 years ago now. And this is when I did probably the most important thing I've ever done in Muxia as being a resident of Galicia, but especially Muxia. I planted potatoes. I didn't do it alone, would never dare to risk it like that. A friend of mine, Roberto, who had plenty of experience in doing this, helped me do it. And so I did. I planted potatoes with his help, but I sowed them, I reaped them. I gathered the harvest alone. And had a great time doing it, and as I was doing it, I was pulling these out of the ground with the potatoes. And this is just a fraction of what I saw, and what I pulled. These were just some of the interesting ones. And I didn't know what I was gathering, but I knew I was gathering pottery shards. As an amateur archaeologist, as a passionate archaeologist, I did not imagine I'd be able to find pottery shards like these. I'm from all over the world. My dad was, when I was born into the State Department system, in the embassy system, and archaeology just developed as a passion as a child. My first memory is of Ephesus in Turkey. And Ephesus is in the Bible. Ephesus is well established. So I saw that as a child. I think I was 7 years old, 8 years old, 7. I think I was 7. And I was just struck by it. I just loved it, and I've loved archaeology ever since. But I was stuck in America as a young man and going into adulthood, and we just don't have a lot of archaeology in America that we know of. We're starting to find more and more now, but when I was going through college and going through all of these good things, archaeology was never an option because A, there's not a lot of jobs in it, and B, I didn't have the wherewithal to go to a university that had an archaeology program, and I don't think I would have been a good student of it in the academic sense, because I have a passion for it. And it's hard to take a passion and squeeze it into academia and then not feel heartbroken. So I had enough experience in academia to know that probably I would not be a good academic archaeologist, but I am a darn good impassioned one. That means I am studying archaeology all the time. I am watching documentaries, I am watching lectures, I am watching studies, and looking at different studies. And one of the best programs that I ever watched in my entire life was called the Time Team. And I preface this all because it's important for you to understand my expertise before I go into studying these pottery shards. So the program Time Team was dedicated archaeologists bringing archaeology to the public, taking it out of the classroom and saying, look, this is how you do an archaeological dig. These are the studies that you have to do before you do it, showed binders of it, but then got into the thick of doing a dig. And they did it over 3 days. It wasn't a long, drawn out, boring process. It was something that was studied, set, and passioned for a television audience to be gripped by it. So much of England, and now those of us that get to watch it on YouTube, were gripped by it. I started watching Time Team 20 some odd years ago, and I got a chance to catch it on YouTube. And so, I was able to binge, and I binged, and I was able to learn about pottery shards and the importance of pottery shards and be able to date a pottery shard. And we were able to see experts in their dating process and experts in what they look for, inclusions, the type of clay being used and how it was fired, and just give us a broad section. And I know a professional archaeologist is going to sniff at this, go, in a professional and an academic archaeologist, you have to. It's part of your pedigree. You're a professional. You have to look down on those who are amateurs. But what happens, and I suffered from this in my career, which was information technology. I went from installing telephone systems and doing cabling in buildings, including telephone, computer wiring, and then ultimately fiber optic, to working on computers, and then working on servers, and then getting into networks, and becoming from the ground up a CCNA, a Cisco Certified Network Administrator. And both voice and data, those are two different paths, and I mastered both of them because I had the knowledge from the basics to be able to get that certification. So I am an IT expert. I know how to study, and I have been at the bottom of things. I know how to go up, and that's what I've done with archaeology. I've been involved in some digs. I studied archaeology at the University of Florida in Pensacola while I was there. I did volunteer work, and no, I would not be a good academic archaeologist, because the breadth, scope, and speed of things I like to study is just not permissible in academia. So that's why academia should embrace us amateurs, because we're researchers for you, and not people that should be dismissed. I am not an unintelligent person. I am a very intelligent person. To understand the internet and how it works at the bit level, that takes a little bit of smarts. And I can tell you how the internet works at the bit level, including the routing of packets and the different protocols that routers would use to route packets across the internet. So yeah, I can explain that to you. Even fiber rings and just all the details of it, you don't want to know it. But I'm an intelligent person, so studying archaeology since I was 7, I should be able to pick up on a lot. I'm 60 years old now. That is 53 years of passion study of archaeology that's culminated in this discovery, which I'm going to show you. These all came out of my garden here on Muxia. We have what we call huertas. Huerta is a Latin term, and it's a Latin term for a garden. Okay, so the land that I am on goes back to the Roman ages, but it's so old it goes back to the Celtic or Celtic ages, way back when, and it goes back to Stone Age. I've got Stone Age tools that I've found on this small little mountain that we have here. But this is where a story is told. So I was just gathering these because in America we don't have pottery shards. And so I was just able to get pottery shards. I was so excited. And I just collected them because I know I could do some kind of dating with them. Some kind of dating. And then when I spotted this piece, I was like, oh, Samian ware, Roman. So just in the field, I was excited. So I just gathered ones that were interesting. There were many there that I left, and I didn't even do a dig. Okay, this is just what we call field walking, but just turning over some soil to see what's interesting. But basically, this was field walking. So we have not excavated here. And one of the beauties of this place is that once and it's not dirt that we do here in our huertas, in our gardens. It's compost, because we are on a granite mountaintop, and so if we use regular dirt, it would wash away. So all of that we grow in here is grown in a very strong compost made of seaweed, of different organics that have melted down, literally melted down over time into one of the finest growing dirts, that composts that I could ever experience. You just pick up and you smell biology. So this is a small village, and so this has not the compost here, the soil here, where these huertas are, they have not been turned over much. So if and when we do an excavation, we can go down layers and be able to I think learn a lot, because this is just what came out at the top. And already by sight, you can just see a variety of different potteries. I'm going to give you the baseline of what is a modern pottery, okay? This is porcelain. This would come off of probably a sink or a bathtub, or I don't know, porcelain pot of some kind. So there's dirt, but the powder is so fine, there's no inclusions. It's just porcelain and then the glazing, which goes into a slurry. And you just dip this in, the slurry, you pull it out for the glazing, and then you fire it, and the glazing, which has glass and clay in it, creates the surface that we know. That is glazing. All right, so this is modern, this is normal, and this did come out of the little Huerta area. I do have to admit that. Where the story got interesting was this piece right here. All right, so I grabbed it and I looked at it and I flipped it over and I was like, "Ooh, looky, we have a rim." Okay, this is where my studies have come in. So I am going to change camera so that you don't have to look at me and we can just study these pieces, because it's going to be all about these pieces. So this is what I learned from Time Team, and I have to give credit, guys, don't knock it. So I was taught by their Pottery Shards expert, if you get a rim, glory days, because a rim can tell you exactly what size and diameter the pot that you're looking at is. So this is my first pottery shard that I know is a little bit old, has a rim, and I flipped it over and I cleaned this. These were filled with dirt. Cleaned them in the kitchen sink, which would cause most people probably to just get incensed, but that's what I did. And then I started looking at it closely, and one of the thing that popped out at me, I was like, man, look at that. That's old clay. This is not modern at all. Look at all the bubbling, all the inclusions. Yeah, I mean, this is not this. This is modern. This is I don't think it was thrown by a wheel. I think this was probably put on a mold of some kind. Especially because of this sharp rim here. Man, I don't think this is modern. As I was flipping it and looking at it, I noticed that the outer surface was weather worn. I mean, completely blasted by the weather. Not sandblasted, but weather blasted. You just feel it. You can feel that there was a glaze on there, and you can see a little bit of shininess, but it's all gone to a certain line. Okay, that is impossible to do with glazing. You dip it all, and it all gets surface. And then you look at the inside, and I was like, look at that. It's perfect. It's old. The inside is perfect. The outside is weather worn. Holy begonias. I knew exactly what this was because of the many episodes of Time Team that I had studied. This is a funerary urn. And only one peoples use the funerary urn as I'm going to explain it to you now. All right? The Celtic peoples, the Celtic peoples, the Celts, are the only ones that we know of that consistently would put the ashes of the person that had passed away by one means or another. They were always cremated. And the ashes were gathered, and this is a study that was done and presented often by Time Team. And they even duplicated the Celtic burial method. That's why I know so much about this. They duplicated. They built from wood, from tree trunks. They built an entire funerary pyre to cremate not a person, but a pig. And they were able to gather the ashes, the bones, make some determinations, talk about the heat and how it affects the body, and gather the ashes, which they could clearly separate the pig ashes from the wood ash, put it in an urn, and then it was placed inverted into the ground. And that's why you have weather-worn on the outside and absolutely perfect on the inside. This is a Celtic funerary urn, and I got a bunch more to show you. So let's get back to the pottery shards. So we're going to put this modern guy up here, and we're going to keep this one over here. Actually, we're going to keep them down here, because I'm going to separate all these out for you and tell their story. The next really interesting one for me personally is this one. Let's see if we can get a focus. I do not have a great camera. But this one, and you can see the dark lines, those are decorations /utility lines, utilitarian lines to make the jar better or have a grip. So it could be a decoration to make it prettier. I hate to say the term prettier, but yes. And then on the outside, it's all weather worn. But these lines, what made me so excited about them is this is something you can use to date. A pottery expert can use these lines, can use what is inside of the pot. Sorry about the condition of my nails. I'm a boy. And I like to play in dirt. And so, yes, so the inclusions, man, the size is so very thin. And then these lines can give us a date of the pottery shards. So this one, again, outside, beautiful, perfect, never used, one use only. And then the outside, absolutely perfectly weather-worn. There we go, great focus. So yes, those lines are deep and they're made with twine. Again, this is something I learned from a time team expert, how to get these decorations. And they made pots, and they made decorations, and they were reflecting the Beaker people. I don't think this is Beaker, it could be. I don't think it is, I think it's far too old, far too young to be Beaker. But an expert will be able to tell us. The first thing you can notice about these two is that they both have a green slurry. The glaze is green. Thank you, camera, for focusing. And the glaze is sophisticated because you see those little dots? Those dots are iron. And you can see that one right there streaks perfectly. So those are little pieces of iron that are put into the glaze and give it a certain signature. And so I postulate, and I think it's a pretty strong postulation because I know how we are here in the north of Spain, is that each village had their own glazing. Okay? So let's keep going. This guy. See if I can get a good focus on it. Same thing. It has some of those dark pieces in it. It has different color, but most importantly, boom, outside beautifully weather-worn because it was exposed to nature for many years. And I live here in Muxia where these were put, and I can tell you that the winters are blistering. The winds are havocy. We have English Channel weather, and we have a fame for it. So all of these are basically of the same age because, and this one has a little bit of its glazing still left, so you can see how it was weather-worn, but some still left. But these are all by the weatherware. You can tell that they're of basically the same age. This one is a little newer, and you can see the effects of how the glaze is weather-worn. So over time, some of it stays on, and then other bits of it is worn off. This is Roman. Okay, this is Celtic. This is Roman. And why I say this is Celtic, especially because of the green color and the age and the location. So this is either Celtic, post-Celtic, pre-Roman, or Celtic to Roman. And I just, right now, the way we have our histories, it went from Celtic to Roman and nothing in between it, Celtic tribes. Not one single Celtic tribe, but multiple Celtic tribes lived throughout this area. That's why we have different shapes, different compositions. Let me see if I can get two of these guys together at the camera. But yeah, you can just see that there's difference in these two guys, but they basically have the same signature outside. So I'm grouping these as Celtic. These are beauties, eh? Look at that. Weather-worn outside and perfectly dark green glaze inside. But look at how thin that is. This is our first one. Look at this guy. And it was a perfect bowl. Okay? With that signature. With that inverted funerary urn signature. Weather-worn outside and then perfectly beautiful inside. And that green. But the size. So I have a few of these that are like this. And this one has a white clay, where this is a dark clay. And I've really never seen a white clay like that. So these are our two really interesting, and this one is very thin as well. And then we'll keep going with the Celtic guys. This is a little brownish, same type of inclusions, same type of weatherware outside. So these are basically around the same age, okay? I don't know if it's hundreds of years, thousands of years, 50 years, but yeah, this is another rim, worn at the bit, but pretty much inside and outside okay. So this must have been buried a little bit deeper, but the wear on the rim mouth tells me it was moved a lot in the ground. Again, these are things that bunch of different archaeologists over the time that the time team was there. There's, I think, 20 years. So hundreds of shows. Well, I've watched them thousands of times. So learned a lot. Same signature, and I was never known about the inversion if I just had not been educated by time team. So same signature, weather-worn outside, beautiful inside. Weather-worn outside, beautiful inside, weather-worn outside, completely worn to the clay. This one doesn't even have any glazing left to it. This is down to the clay. This one, the white one, big chunk, clay, and it has some kind of decoration on the outside. And then look at the inside. This is an interesting showstopper. This is an amazing, amazing piece from the same era. All right. Last of that era is this one. This is a beauty. I did not find this one. These all, except for two of these guys and this piece, came from the garden, okay? This one, I've been giving lectures and talking about my finds and basically how to identify an inverted pottery shard here on the mountain of Muxia. And I had a student, I say a student, a woman who's a pilgrim of Camino de Santiago, came to 2 lectures, 2 days in a row. And at the end of the second day, at the end of the lecture, she showed me 3 pieces. They were like this. Actually, this is one of them. The other 2 pieces were interesting. She kept them, but she gave me this one because this gives the signature perfectly. And if you can tell as I roll it around, this is the top of the jar, of the urn, okay? This is the top. This is the lip. And there's a little line under here where you could tie a rope and whatever's inside will stay inside. If you put a cloth or a lambskin cover. So this is a way of covering the vessel. And this is the top. This is the inside, and as we can tell by the lip, this is the outside. And this guy was placed face down like this for goodness knows how long, because the inside is great, the bottom or the top of the jar is also fine with its glazing, but the outside is completely weather worn. Completely. There may be a little bit of glaze here. I'm just seeing it now with the camera, but naked eye can't see that. Yeah, there's a little bit. That's how the camera helps. So she gave me this piece for the collection because this just gives the perfect signature and comes from this time period. So I'm going to move all these guys a little more in camera. Actually, I can move the camera. All right. So all these guys are in a grouping. All of these guys have the same signature, but I'm going to keep the colors up because they're beautiful. This guy in the middle now is one of the most interesting pieces. I'm going to try to get the focus to happen close. Can I do it like this? Yes. Look at the little shiny bits. This has this is old clay. This has a lot of sand in it. That's the quartz that you see that's been heated that makes the shiny bits. So this clay has a lot of sand in it to help the heating process. Okay? And this has been turned over a lot. This has been in the ground a while. But this could easily be prehistoric, early Bronze Age. Definitely not Iron Age. Those are Iron Age. So this is definitely a showstopper for me. It has a little bit of decoration here, but here it has a fingerprint. And this is the inside of the urn. And so here you have a fingerprint of the person that actually did the piece as he was creating it by hand pressing on the inside. It is just a beauty, guys. You have a love for archaeology, then you have a love for pottery shards. And look at this. Glorious. So this is a piece of on its own. These guys, I have to wait for a second because I want to get to the Roman bits. Samian ware. Terra Staccata, I think, is the scientific name, but for us in the layman's world of archaeology, Roman pottery has a definition to it, and it's called Samian ware. This is probably the best piece to show you. So red glazing with a red tinted clay, all right? And that's why you see a lot of the rooftops in Europe have the red rooftops, because they're using the same exact method that the Romans used way back when they had created it. So yes. So this is a Roman piece, and whoever bought this was doing the same ritual as the Celtic people. So I don't know if this was a Roman person or a Celtic person who was carrying on the ritual but just bought Roman pottery to continue the ritual. Oh, thank you, camera. So you can see the outside had glazing, but it's totally weather worn. and the inside is perfect. This, I think, is a dish. Look at the decoration. That yellow decoration is so beautiful. So it is great inside and outside. And the Romans actually had a tradition where they would come and eat at the gravesite of a dearly departed, a famous general. Look at the beauty of the decoration. Someone important, but it's got the red clay interior. And so they would have a meal and would leave food for their dearly departed. I think this could be such a dish. Bears a little more studying. But the rest of them are clearly from the Roman times. I don't know if the Romans were doing this. The Romans did practice cremation. And there was no religious intolerance here. Anybody could bring their ashes of the dearly departed and leave them in an urn at the sacred mountain that is Muxia. But this one has started weathering. Okay, so this is one of the youngest pieces in my little collection here. You just see the weathering starting. This guy is absolutely weathered. This piece, same, incredibly thin. Actually, this one is the different one, I'm sorry. This one is pretty much, I think, also another plate like this one. So I do, kind of makes me think that the Romans were doing it. This one is different because this one was flipped upside down for a while. It was weathering outside, but it was turned over and the inside is completely weather worn. So this is the inside of the bowl. This is the one that kind of stands out in the collection and bears further study. Let's see if we can get that focus to happen again. There it is. So this is the inside, as you can see in the profile. In the profile, because the camera's working so nicely, you can see some inclusions. That white piece in the middle. So it's got some inclusions. It's not modern, and it's got some weather wearing on the outside. And again, it's incredibly thin versus a normal piece. Keep your focus. So this is a normal piece. Let me get everything in there. See if it'll focus in. There you go. So that is a normal piece. And this is this piece. So the thinner one was not used for making meals or drinking or anything like that. I think this was a single-use vessel for funerary rites. So there's a lot of information here. And then these black guys, and I put this old guy in with the black guys, but he's front of the line. These, they look like rocks, but they're not. They're actually vessels, because you can tell by the shape. But it's the way that they're fired that makes them black and hard as absolute rocks. Get the zoom in there. And when I tap them, they're not like normal clay. They sound like rock. It's because of the firing method. Okay? These are fired in low oxygen, low heat over a long time. So they basically become rocks, and they look like rocks. But then when you look at the inclusions, like in this piece, you can clearly see that it is a vessel of some kind, an urn, and this is the rim. So this is a process that was well established and well documented in Malta. So these could have come from all the way from Malta, maybe. So these bear studying more depth. And then there's this piece, which is amazingly old. So come on, camera, zoom in on us. Get away from there, get away from there. Zoom in on this, please. All right, so this guy is handmade, okay, and hand pressed. Wish the camera would. All right, get it. I get it there. There is a glazing, but this is not wheel thrown. This is handmade. There's a little bit of a rim here, and I put this guy in between there. So I think these are prehistoric. I think these are very sophisticated and could come from as far away from Malta. We've got Roman, we've got Celtic here, and then we have this. So this is a piece that was in there as well. And it has the same signature. Is this the piece? Yeah. Same signature. Smooth on the inside and rough on the outside. And it took me a while to figure out what kind of pottery this was. And it wasn't really me that did it. It was a woman who put it into the sun. And I was like, oh, it's glass. And it's the rim of a glass, this one, of a glass funerary urn. And then I found more. So this is clearly glass, this is clearly a rim, and then this one as well. Okay, so these are three different and distinct funerary urns because they all have the same signature. Inside smooth, this one you can really tell. The inside smooth and the outside is just weather blasted. So these come from different parts. These two come from the same part. Actually, it's this one. This one. And then these two came from another area. So these are glass. They can be Phoenician, Greek, or Roman because they all had glass making capabilities. And this is the modern piece. One of the most amazing things about this place is that, and it took me a while for it to strike, is this I think is maybe the only place in the whole world where people are bringing different pottery shards, different pots, I'm sorry, from different parts of the Mediterranean world and placing them here in that inverted urn process. I don't think it was strictly a Celtic ritual. I think others practiced it because of the beauty of this place. So, yeah, this is a very unique study. This is a very unique place, and this is only from a 3 meter by 3 meter, 3 yard by 3 yard surface area field walk. It's just turning over dirt and getting shards in a haphazard, not even thinking about it way. Where did all these come from? I keep saying Muxia, Muxia, Muxia. If you've walked the Camino de Santiago, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm probably getting a little emotional about it. But if you're not a Camino de Santiago person, Muxia is in a location that was considered back in the times of Strobos and Ptolemy and Alexander the Great. In those times, this coast here that you're looking at, where it says U.S., was considered to be the end of the earth, the end of the world as it was known. And it was very, very special. It was very magical. People did not know of Great Britain during these times. They did not know about the island. Strobos did not write anything about it. They contended that this was the end of the world. So where we are is here. If you can see my mouse turning around it. And the name of the location from back in Roman times is Grandi Medium. Now, and I'm down by here, it's Muxia. And Grandi Medium is Latin for great wonder. Great wonder. So there must have been thousands, if not thousands upon thousands, if not maybe even 1 million of these inverted pottery, funerary urns covering all of the land that's called Grandi Medium, including here, because I've had it on great authority of locals who are children digging up potatoes and different fruits and vegetables from these gardens, saying, oh no, there's tons of these pottery shards in all of our huertas here in Muxia. And I was like, yes! So this is nothing. What I've shown to you is just a sample of what we have here. This is the only place that I can think of in the world where people are bringing their pottery shard, their pots, leaving them here to be shards. And I think, or not, I actually see that we have a range of dates here, just from one simple location, from prehistoric pots to Roman pots to modern porcelain. So yeah, we've got a great range. It's coming from an established place that I know that upon study, everybody will understand is a very religious place. This is a place where people were brought to die and to have the rituals of their death be performed, and then have a cremation, gather their ashes, put them in a funerary urn, and find a location in Grandi Medium to be able to put that urn face down into the ground so that the ashes can slowly descend into the land of the gods, which was the earth and sea. And so, yeah, this was being done here in Muxia. And just to give closure as to what I'm saying, is that the people here in that live here now really don't understand the memory of what was here. They just know the here and now and the modern stories, so they're not aware of the things that I'm talking about, bless their hearts. Established archaeologists, open-minded archaeologists especially, will see this for what it is, which is an amazing, amazing, amazing burial ground for the Celtic people before the Romans took over and basically phased out that Celtic way of life. So yeah, this is an amazing collection of pottery shards from distinct eras in the same grouping on the surface of a huerta, a garden here in Muxia. It tells a fascinating story, and I've been telling a fascinating story here on my channel, The Breadcrumbs Project. So be sure to join me for more as we explore prehistoric and Celtic and Roman Galicia, and then explain what happened to the Romans and how Latin America became Latin America. The Romans were never defeated. The Roman Empire, as they say, collapsed. It did not. It divided in two. There's the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. The Eastern Roman Empire became the Catholic Church, and the Roman Empire, which didn't officially end till the 1800s. Do your research. The Eastern Roman Empire ended up in Germany, and the Prussian king was ultimately the last Roman emperor, and he dissolved it in the 1800s. He dissolved the Roman Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, in the 1800s. We didn't know what happened to the Western Roman Empire until I started doing my research, and I can tell you how Latin America got its name. All right, I'm Charles Chambers. I'm the Chief Executive, the COO, the Chief Bottle Washer of the Breadcrumbs Project, and I sure do appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, you can reach out to my YouTube channel. the Breadcrumbs Project, or you can email me at elchuck@hotmail.com or elchuck1@gmail.com. And yeah, love to hear from you, or leave a comment in the comment section here on the YouTube channel. Thanks. Bye.